Hillary Clinton and Tucker Carlson walk into the Saudi Arabia real estate forum. And let me say that one more time. When I read this at first, like I reacted thinking that was fake. Hillary Clinton and Tucker Carlson walk into a Saudi real estate forum. Let me read this. And by the way, to the title there makes it seem like it's only the two of them that were there. There were other people there as well. It was rather hard to parse why Hillary Clinton, the former Democratic presidential candidate, and Tucker Carlson, the contrarian, by the way, this is New York Times writing, the contrarian right-wing commentator had been invited to speak at real estate conference in Saudi. Neither had much to say about real estate, yet on Wednesday they took the stage separately at a hotel ballroom in Riyadh, the capital of the conservative Islamic kingdom, and here's what Tucker had to say. Go ahead.
And of course this year, just a year later, it's like, yeah, of course, everyone's in Saudi, like they're...
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that because it's reality-based. I'm not here to promote the Saudi government, of course, I'm American, but I think that Saudi Arabia is a fundamentally real country. It's an ancient country. It's the physical center of one of the largest religions in the world, and it is, of course, a force because of its resources and its diplomacy. So, like, I'm glad to see a real country get treated like a real country, like an actual country, not just a client of some other country. So it's good.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if people had some ideas about those things you've spoken about, the graciousness, the hospitality, the kindness, before they commented on it from afar? Because I think it's an experience which, once you've had, changes your perception
Well, I
of this
strongly
place.
agree with that, and I've taken a lot of abuse in my country for saying things like that out loud. I'm, for whatever it's worth, a pretty fervent Christian, and I feel completely comfortable here in the seat of Islam, not because, right? I mean, and why is that? And just saying that is a threat somehow to some people who are propagandists and liars, and but it's true, so I'm going to say it. And moreover, I think it points up like something that's really important about life, which is it's worth meeting people and seeing things before you try to assess them.
Oh, that's a great life lesson. I wish
And
more people
I try not to
understood that.
talk about anything I haven't smelled. And I mean that, and including people. Like, how do you really know? What you're doing is you are taking other people's word for something, which if it's, say, your wife or your children or someone you love is okay, but if it's like a propagandist you've never met who's trying to convince you to do something against your own interests,
You can pause it right there. Vinny.
Hold on. I'm in the middle of smelling Tom, because that's what I do.
Easy,
smell
Joe
people.
Biden. Now you can talk about it.
Tom, great body soap. I love it. But I want to, what he just said, I hope everybody understands. He said, and I quote, "I'm, for whatever it's worth, a pretty fervent Christian, and I feel completely comfortable here in the seat of Islam in Saudi Arabia." By the way, Saudi Arabia bans Christianity from public life. Churches are illegal. Don't know if you guys know that. Converting to Christianity is punishable by death, and the country is ranked 13th in Open Doors list of 50 of the most dangerous places in the world for Christians. Now, okay, if you're Tucker Carlson, you're American, standing on stage saying there how comfortable that you feel, I don't think it's courage. I think it's curation. Saudi Arabia doesn't invite people like Tucker to challenge them. I think it's there to polish their image. You know what I mean? Like those future and real estate forums, they're not neutral spaces. They're tied to big money and state power. That's why Hillary Clinton was invited there. And it's just ironic. Tucker, you know, with all the stuff that Tucker's criticized Israel and how they are and people paying and all that stuff, he's over there doing the same thing. So if you're going to call it out on one side, you can't pretend that it's, you know, something else when you're in it and you're doing it. I'm curious to what, because I know he has a property, he said, where in Qatar, if he's going to get a property there where Christianity is outlawed, even though he's a, you know, fervent Christian in a land in the seat of Islam. I'm just very curious.
Cuomo.
It's your boy. That's your boy. And I think that he is an interesting study in opportunity, in opportunism. And I think that when somebody is not really tied to any principle or philosophy except advantage, they're capable of anything. And you go to the place that you know exports the most dangerous form of extreme Islamism, where you know 9/11 would not have happened but for.
Bingo.
And you pretend that it's something else. Why?
You think that's what's going on with them?
What else could it be? It cannot be based in anything rational. It can't. it is anathema to everything he says he's supposed to be about, depending on the day. You know, it goes to where we started the podcast today, which is if you're just about tripping the algorithm and getting paid, you're going to have very obvious choice structure. If he was still working somewhere, you think he's there saying that?
No way.
And is that censorship? No. If he's part of the PBD crew, wait, what are you going to say when you go over there? Hold on. You're all about free speech. There's no question about it. It's one of my favorite things about you guys. But you'd be like, whoa, this is bad for us. What do you say? You know who you're sitting there with, right? But he doesn't. And that's part of the plus minus on independent media now. That you're independent, right, but is that always a good thing? No, is the answer.
You said something, though. You said at the beginning that he could end up being a number one podcast passing Rogan.
100%.
So you think Tucker's going to be the number one podcast passing Rogan?
I don't know if it is him, but he's certainly, look, I mean, say what you want about Don Lemon. He's got more of a following online than he's ever had before. And that was before this.
Right.
Now,
right.
Forget it. You know, he may be in your guys' rare air. I think you're making him a martyr. But Tucker Carlson, absolutely. Why? Because this is what sells. Because by design, the platforms reward it.
How much has he changed from the time you went and did the show with him? You were on his podcast about a year and a half ago, right? 14 months ago. How much has he changed?
Even that was very capricious. For him to sit across from me and say, I was an asshole to you when I was at Fox, you know, because you were the guy at CNN and that's what we were told to do.
Right.
You know, I shouldn't have been for the war in Iraq. You know, I was conditioned by others. That's not too different from me from, you know, a demon came at me last night. I got to tell you, it could have gone either way. But I escaped it. Thank God. He is capable of anything. And I think that that's exciting for people. And I think it's a little scary for people who worry about what people decide to follow.
Adam.
I think Tucker Carlson is the exact opposite of Chris Cuomo because it's so easy. No, actually not two-faced. Actually not two-faced because the challenge with Tucker is he talks tough online, but then when you're in person with him, he's like, hey, how you doing, President of Iran? How are you doing, Putin? How are you doing, Nick Fuentes? But when he gets home, oh boy, does he talk tough. So I think he's compromised. I've been saying that for a while. He wants to get there and smell what The Rock is cooking. The more and more he keeps talking, the fishier he smells. Something's going on here. Because what I appreciate about you is you call out both sides, but you're pretty firm in your convictions. At this point, I literally have no clue what Tucker's convictions are. But he's going to go buy a property in Qatar because why? He's an American. Go buy a house in Detroit. Go buy a house in Louisiana. Don't go buy a house in Qatar because you're a proud American. Something's going on here with this guy. I will let the public figure that out. Last point, good for Saudi, opening up to the world. Saudi, 20 years ago, was right on par with Iran. I don't know which way. They're both the Wahhabism, the extremism. At this point, it's pretty clear who the bad guy is in the Middle East, and it's Iran. Saudi is at least trying to open up to the world and respect to them on that.
But to say that as a fervent Christian, as a passionate, like he's a deep Christian, to feel comfortable there in the seat of Islam, where you know how they treat Christians, he's saying that, Chris, because he has security. They promise him security. Good luck. Like, what is it? Is the message that more Christians?
What would happen if I went to Saudi and I said what I wanted to say?
About
to
faith
them,
in you and what,
yes,
no,
what would happen?
And then you're not in one of these forums where there's security out the wazoo.
What would happen?
You're Patrick. Your wife is going to a funeral and you disappear. That's it. You're done. Bye.
Yeah.
It's not even a joke.
By the way, I actually I don't think he gets to that point in Saudi. I think it may get into that point in a different place, but I don't think I would be as safe as he is if you go there. But let me tell you what's going on behind closed doors. This is what I think is going on, okay? And it's funny because it's the end of the podcast. So few people are going to see this. But out of whatever way we clip this is what I think is going to happen in 27, 28. And you guys better follow this closely. My opinion. Ready? This is my opinion. I think under Trump administration, there's two camps. Two camps you're dealing with. I think there is the non-interventionist camp, and then there's the interventionist camp. And let me unpack that for you. I think there's going to be a camp that's going to be the Massey camp, which the Massey camp is going to be the Tucker, Candace, all that, all those guys. They're going to be a Massey camp. I don't know about Nick because he changes a lot, so I don't know what that's going to be. But say it's going to be the Massey camp with that community, and there's a lot of people there. I think there's going to be the JD camp, okay? And the JD camp is going to be the Thiel, the Musks, the technology, the open AI, the Altmans. I think that's going to be that camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's going to be a Rubio camp. And I think the Rubio camp are the guys that are watching to see a guy like if you go in D.C., Rubio has more respect and what do you call it? Pull. It's the word I'm looking for.
Influence?
Influence. I think he's got way more influence. A lot more what?
A lot more gravitas.
He does. He does over there. But here's the problem. This is part of a conversation that we were having yesterday as well with a few different people that were there, is the feeling I'm getting is Vance, may be weaker in the general, but he'll be stronger in the primary.
Mm-hmm.
And Rubio will be stronger in the general, but he won't make it past the primary because Vance has TPUSA, Vance has the youth, Vance has all these guys.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, the Massey community has to go somewhere. Where they're going to go, who knows?
Yeah.
They're going to talk, they're going to talk, they're going to talk, they're going to talk, they're going to talk. And then eventually when it comes down to Newsom versus somebody else, you're either going to sit it out or you're going to support somebody. So I think whatever Tucker is doing, it's all leading to 27, 28. I think 2020 is the most important presidential election we've had in 12 years.
Yeah.
From 28, going back to 2015.
Because it's wide open.
Because Stephen Colbert yesterday said he may run for office.
God help us.
It's going to be wide open with the people that are going to get into it.
Should not be Newsom, by the way. The way the Democratic Party is trending, subject to what leadership it has, because it will not have the leadership it has today in the presidential cycle, my prediction. They're looking for their own disruptor. I don't know how Newsom checks that box. I mean, he could be as obnoxious as he wants on social media. He's an animal of the system.
Kalshi's got him at 75%.
He's up there, Chris.
Kalshi's got him at 75%. AOC second. And then Pritzker's at like 2%. Stephen A's at 2%.
I mean,
Stewart's at 2%. A bunch of these guys are at 2%.
I think it's someone that's not in that mix.
You might be right,
now.
but I also think whoever hates Trump the most is going to get the nominee.
But they're positioning
depending on what happens in 27.
Yeah, Newsom
remember
going to Davos
those
and
are the
everything,
macros. And once upon a time, a certain Bush did really good in the macros.
140 million.
And then that's right. Then he went to Iowa. Oh wow, why can't he pull? Then he went to New Hampshire.
Yep.
Then they went to South Carolina. And then all of a sudden Super Tuesday came up and they're talking about the viability of his campaign.
Yep.
When the macros
Very good point.
When the macros at the beginning
But
were,
Tom,
this is Bush 3.0.
One big difference. Jeb Bush is not a stage guy. George Bush is a state guy. Newsom is a stage guy.
Oh, yeah.
If there's one of the best interviews that was done on Trump is the one that people talk about the least, is the one Lex Friedman did. President said something on Lex Friedman that was so powerful. I think it was Lex Friedman. If I got it wrong, I want to give credit to whoever did it, but I want to give credit to Lex because he did a very good job. He says, Lex, I got a lot of friends that are billionaires. But you think it's just billionaire that becomes a president? You have to learn how to speak from stage. If you don't know how to speak from stage, you are not going to become president.
Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah, so Mike Bloomberg is the other one. Yes, there's a game coming up called Super Bowl, right? And Seattle is going up against
New England
Patriots. And it's so funny because we can go through a whole different conversation with New England, with Bill Belichick. Maybe we'll do that all the way at the end because I'm sure we all have some opinions on Bill Belichick not making it into the Hall of Fame. Tom Brady said, if I have to come back and play with only one coach, I'm not picking anybody else but Bill Belichick. And the guy didn't make it, and 3 other coaches were first ballot Hall of Famers, but this guy didn't. But anyways, Patriots, Seattle Seahawks, while this is happening, you're watching it. And if you believe future looks bright, you may want to wear this gear that we're launching here today. Go ahead, Rob.
It starts with what you wear. Not just style, identity.
I like that you went with the British guy.
Built with precision.
Vinny.
From the curve of the brim to the weight of the fabric. Every detail matters because this isn't just apparel. It's confidence you put on, pride you represent, a statement without saying a word, where performance
You guys
meets
have your own
legacy.
flag football team?
This is more than gear. This is who we are.
All right, go to VTmerch.com,
okay,
folks.
Mano.
Good for Mano. Looking good.
Panda.
Go to VTmerch.com, place your order. Future looks bright. And by the way, Mano, right, there used to play for the Chiefs. He's now here running VT Sports with Danny Kanell. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.